everybody. This is Suvarchala working as an associate professor, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. As a part of the database management system lecture series, in this session I'll discuss about the canonical cover of functional dependencies. Last session I explained you about attribute closure as well as the FD's closure also. What is meant by equivalence of sets of the FDs? Equivalent sets of FDs means if two sets of FDs F and G are equivalent, if every FD in F can be inferred from G. Inferred, it need not be equal. It can be inferred by using our Armstrong axioms or inference rules. So every FD in F can be inferred from G and every FD in G can be inferred from F. So FDs of F can be inferred from G as well as FDs of G can be inferred from F. Then we will call F plus is equal to G plus. That means that those two FDs are equivalent. In other words, we can say that the respective FDs closures are equivalent, then sets of FDs are equal. That is, F and G are equivalent if F plus is equal to G plus. That only we consider inferred. All FDs inferred from F is F plus. That means your G must be in F plus as well as your F must be in G plus. In such cases, we can say the two sets of FDs are equivalent. Now we will define what is meant by covers. F covers G. When will we say? F covers G if every FD in G can be inferred from F. Every FD in G can be inferred from F. That is, G is our part of some F plus. If G plus is subset of F plus, in such other words. F and G are equivalent if F covers G and G covers F. The reason we will check the equivalence of the FDs and we are able to check whether it covers or not. Many multiple covers will be there. So what is meant by canonical cover or minimal cover? So if two sets of FDs are there on same relation schema, remember that. So two sets of FDs are there. If one set of FD is inferred from other set of FD and vice versa also true, then we can say both FDs are equivalent. If one set of FDs are inferred or derived from the other set of FDs, that particular other set can be considered as a cover of the FD. In first case, F plus is equal to G plus, that respective closures are equivalent. In the second case, because we are inferring no, so that's why automatically that closures are equivalent. In second case, if G plus is the subset of the, that is, you are having your closure of the second sets is a subset of the F plus. So both are equivalent means F covers G, G covers F. Both are considered. So what is minimal cover? Minimal cover, we can use the word as a canonical cover. A minimal cover or a canonical cover of a set of functional dependencies F. Non-reducible functional dependency set we will call it as. Because F consists of all functional dependencies independently exist, not derived. So non-reducible functional dependency set is a minimum set of dependencies that is equivalent to F. Minimum set of FDs that is equivalent to F. So minimal cover means it is a set of functional dependencies of minimal cover is a minimum set of dependencies that is equivalent to F. A minimal cover or a canonical cover is simplified and reduced version of the given set of the dependencies. Since it is reduced version, it is also called as irreducible set. That means some of the FDs are going to be having repeated, some of the FDs can be inferred from the already in the F itself. In the F itself, some of the FDs are going to be repeated or some of the FDs can be inferred from the other FDs. In such cases, this minimal cover gives us a irreducible set which is covers our original FDs actually. Canonical cover is a free from all extraneous functional dependencies. As I just know, additional functional dependencies or inferred functional dependencies are already available in my F. It's not in F place I am not talking. Already in F itself, if any such type of FDs are identified, sometimes at the time of designing it might be happen generally. Because we are going to, by using our set of business rules, etc., we will write our FDs, no? So sometimes the FDs are going to be repeated, or it may be inferred from already known FDs also. So such extra dependencies can be eliminated by using this minimal cover actually. So the closure of canonical cover is same as the given set of FDs actually. Because it is having no closure means irreducible. So our FDs are going to be having some additional no. So that's why it can be considered as a canonical cover. Closure of canonical cover of the set of attributes is same as that of the given set of functional dependencies. Canonical cover need not be unique, and it may be more than one for a given set of functional dependencies also. That means we are eliminating the logically derivable FDs, no? So that's why that logically derivable FDs may be different at different times also. So that's why canonical cover need not be unique. We may have more than one canonical cover for a set of attributes. What is minimal sets of FDs? A set of FDs is minimal, then it satisfies the following conditions. Every dependency in F has a single attribute for its right hand side. Minimal. Minimal means it cannot be reducible, no? So that's why it has to satisfy these three properties. The first one, every dependency on the right hand side must be having only single attribute. Why? Because it has more attributes means it can be reduced into two, no? Decomposition is there, no? So by using decomposition rule, I may generate additional attributes, additional functional dependency sometimes. So that's why every dependency in F must be a single attribute for its right hand side. We cannot remove any dependency from F and can have a set of dependencies that is equivalent to F. So a dependency cannot be removed from F, then a set of dependencies that is equivalent to F. We cannot have an additional set of dependencies. So then we can say it's a minimal. You cannot eliminate any of the existing FDs, we can say. For example, if you have A determines BH, then I have A determines B, another one. Why A determines B I can eliminate? Because A determines BH is there, no? Because of that, I can write A determines B, A determines H. So A determines B is there, A determines H I'll keep, then A determines BH can be eliminated. So that's why from set of FDs, if I am not able to remove any FD, which cannot be any of the FDs cannot be considered as a logically derivable from the existing FDs, then we can say our F is a minimal. Then that particular set of FDs are equivalent to F. Third condition, we cannot replace any dependency X determines A in F with a dependency Y determines A, where Y is a proper subset of X. Y is a proper subset of X. And if you have still some set of dependencies that is equivalent to F, then also we can consider it as a minimum. So all conditions must be satisfied. If all conditions are going to be satisfied, then we can say it is a minimal set of FDs. So in a minimal set of FDs, every set of FD has an equivalent minimal set, and there can be several equivalent minimal sets. As I just now explained to you, they need not be unique minimal sets. And there is no simple algorithm for computing a minimal set of FDs that is equivalent to the set of the FDs. So because it's multiple, no, so that's why there is no small algorithm. But to synthesize the relations, we assume that set of FDs, that is a minimal set. Initially, we will consider it as we will assume it is a minimal set only, and based upon the decompositions, etc., based upon the normalizing the relations, we will get minimal set of attributes further actually. So canonical cover means it's the minimal cover actually. The set of FDs dependencies may have redundant dependencies that can be inferred from the other FDs. For example, A determines C is redundant in this. A determines B, B determines C, A determines C is there. Because from first to third one will be generated. The third one need not be explicitly specified. It is inferred actually. Parts of the functional dependency may be redundant on right hand side. So, for example, A determines B, B determines C, A determines CD. A determines C is there, A determines D is there. So that's why you can write it as a, instead of A determines CD, as just now explained in previous slide also. A determines B, B determines C. A determines CD can be written as A determines C, A determines D. So A determines D is enough because A determines C is a transitive. Can be simplified. Another one, third example. A determines B, B determines C, AC determines D. C is added on the left hand side. So that's why you can write it as A determines B, B determines C, and A determines D. Simplified. Because AC determines D is an additional transitive you can consider. So this canonical cover FT is a minimal set of the functional dependencies equivalent to F. There is no any redundant dependencies or redundant parts of the dependencies should be there. That is known as a canonical cover. If we have a canonical cover, then the relation schema or the dependencies and particular relation schema can be properly distributed among the subrelations when the decomposition takes place during the normalization process. For this canonical cover, first we need to extraneous attributes. We have to find out what are the extraneous attributes. A set F of functional dependencies and the functional dependency alpha determines beta is in F. Then the attribute A is known as extraneous in alpha if A belongs to alpha and F logically implies, that is, for F is what is F? Set of functional dependencies. So F minus alpha implies beta. This must be removed, whichever the dependency I am considering. Other than this, if alpha minus A determines beta, then you can say A is an extraneous. Alpha minus A means if you are removing A from alpha, if such a respective FD is union, then A can be considered as extraneous. In the previous example also we consider actually. Here in this AC, no, C we consider it as extraneous actually. So extraneous attribute means in the left hand side it will be extraneous. Even by removing it, the respective set is going to be, respective FD can be implied. So attribute A is extraneous in beta if A belongs to beta and the set of functional dependencies F minus alpha minus beta union alpha determines beta minus A logically implies F. That means if you are removing A also, if you are adding that particular dependency to F by removing the existing alpha determines beta and that attribute, extraneous attribute can be removable, then we can say it is if it is equivalent to the logically F, we should remember always. We are removing the existing FD and we are adding by removing the extraneous attribute, but the set of functional dependencies must be logically implied. Implication in the opposite direction is always trivial because it depends upon our decomposition rule. A stronger functional dependency is always implies a weaker one actually. So example extraneous attribute given F, A determines C, AB determines C. So in case of A determines C, you can, because A determines C is there for us. AB determines C means here A is an extraneous. A determines C and AB determines C exists actually. B is excess tuple here actually. Logically implies A determines C, that is the result of dropping B from AB determines C. Then we will have only A determines C only. B is extraneous. Similarly, A determines C, AB determines CD. AB determines CD means here AB determines C will be there, AB determines D will be there. Then B is considered to be C is an extraneous in AB determines CD, since AB determines C can be inferred after deleting C also. So how to test if an attribute is extraneous or not actually? To test if an attribute is extraneous or not, consider the set of functional dependencies F and functional dependency alpha determines beta in F. To test attribute A belongs to alpha is extraneous in alpha, we have to compute alpha minus A closure. We have to compute alpha minus A closure using the dependencies in F. Attribute closure, which we discussed in the last session. Alpha is set of attributes. If A is an extraneous, if you want to test, alpha minus A closure must be computed. And this closure should contain beta, then A is extraneous. That is, if its closure contains beta, means A is an extraneous actually. Similarly, to test if an attribute A belongs to beta is an extraneous, right hand side, we have to compute alpha plus only dependencies in F dash. What is F dash? F minus alpha determines beta. If you want to check right hand side, the current FD must be removed. And add an attribute, add an FD by removing the extraneous attribute. With this set of FDs, we need to compute alpha plus. Left hand side attributes closure must be done. If alpha plus contains A, then it is an extraneous. If closure contains A, it is an extraneous. Right? So, two ways actually. A belongs to alpha is an extraneous checking. A belongs to beta is an extraneous checking. Left hand side may be extraneous tuples and right hand side may be extraneous tuples. So this will be checked by using this, computing the respective closures by considering the conditions. So canonical cover of a F is, as we defined already, set of functional dependencies FC such that F logically implies all dependencies of FC and FC logically implies all dependencies of F, and no functional dependency in FC contains an extraneous attribute, and each left hand side of the functional dependency in FC is unique. Then we can say it's a canonical cover. Canonical cover already we defined, it's a minimal, no? So minimal actually. When we say F must be logically inferred FC as well as FC must be logically inferred F, that means equivalence. Both F and FC must be equal, in other words, which we defined in the first slide of this section. And moreover, there is no any functional dependency with extraneous attributes, both on the left hand side as well as the right hand side. And each left hand side of the functional dependency in FC is unique. There should not be any repetition of the left hand side FDs actually. So how to compute? A small algorithm which I discussed just now, that is represented in terms of the steps. Use the union rule to replace any dependencies in F. That is alpha 1 determines beta 1, alpha 1 determines beta 2. Then you can write union and find the functional dependencies. Alpha determines B with an extraneous attributes either alpha or beta by using the test which we discussed already earlier. If any extraneous attribute is found, it is deleted from my respective FD. and this process is continued and f does not have any changes further. This way every fd we have to consider, so that if there are no further changes in fd, then if we compute, then that result will be our canonical cover of f. That is minimal irreducible set of fd's in our f, which is very much useful to us in our normalization process to make our relation in good design form. So union rule may become applicable some most of the time, and after some extraneous attributes have been deleted, then it has to be reapplied. Necessity will be there actually. So let us assume that in this example, ABC is a relation. A determines BC, B determines C, A determines B, AB determines C. Right? So we have to apply first union rule. Let us assume that you have A determines BC and A determines B is there, which is resulting as A determines BC only. So what is now excess? That A determines B can be removed. Now A determines BC and B determines C is there, and AB determines C is there. And we have to find out extraneous attributes, because B determines C is there anyway. Both sides are single set of attributes. So I need to find out A determines BC, AB determines C, extraneous is there or not. AB determines C, A is extraneous. We have to check, because B determines C is there already. If A is extraneous, then that can be removed actually. So check the resulting of deleting of A from AB determines C is implied by the other dependencies, because B is determines C is already exists. So that's why now A determines AB. If we are removing extraneous, then what is set of attributes I will have? A determines BC and B determines C is there. Now what I need to check? C is extraneous or not. So when I'm checking A determines C is logically implied by A determines B and other dependencies, then I may say it there is an extraneous C. So A determines B, A determines C will be there. For example, if you are using decomposition in general also. A determines B, B determines C. By using transitive property, A determines C will be resulted. So that's why C is an extraneous. So when you are considering this in this relation, by using transitive property, you will get A determines B will be there. So decomposition, A determines C will be there. So already A determines B is there. B determines C is there, another one, second one. By using these two, I'll get this A determines C. Then it will be additional one only, no? So because of that, what happens here in this example, C is an extraneous actually. So when you are using this, C is an extraneous checking here, logically it implies A determines B and other dependencies. As a transitive property, if you are doing decomposition, basic transitive property, A determines C is an additional dependency. So that's why C is an extraneous. Then by using the attribute closure, A is in more complex cases, the canonical cover of the given set of FDs is A determines B and B determines C. Only two FDs are there actually. This is the minimal cover, canonical cover or a minimal cover. So by using this minimal cover or a canonical cover, at the time of dependency preservation, easily can be able to distribute by ourselves. By using this theory related to functional dependency, we will move to the normalization process in the coming sessions, which is very much important and required designing technique or refining techniques of a relational database schema. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.